so long since I've talked to the camera. I have to admit it. I'm a little bit, like I'm a smidge, a breadcrumb, a little bit camera shy today because I haven't held this field recorder in a long time and I haven't filmed something in a long time, but that's okay. That's absolutely okay. I will persevere because the topic for today is something that I'm so passionate about. So this is what we're doing today. The topic for this video is living seasonally and how to live well seasonally. This is going to be a macro guide. Basically, think of this as a philosophy, a mentality, a mindset, an approach. It's something that kind of encompasses everything. This philosophy really makes life more colorful. It's like I think of this philosophy as turning up the what's it called, the vibrancy, the saturation. I remember I had a phase in which I was editing my pictures. It was my favorite thing to do. It was post-production editing. It wasn't taking pictures itself like it is now, but it really was the color correction process, and I would use and abuse the saturation levels, and I would freaking amp it up. A seasonal philosophy to life is how I turn up the saturation, turn up the brightness, the vibrancy of life itself, but in the real world, not on Lightroom. So this is the topic for today, how to live well season to season. I decided to make this video right now because I've gotten many, I could have made this video in fall or in summer or spring, but I've gotten many questions on my Tumblr blog on how not to be a victim of the winter blues. I think that this philosophy is important year-round, but during the winter especially because of the cold weather that makes us all very lazy and it makes us just create this cocoon. It creates this almost incentive to solitude and rumination, being in your head too much. I feel like seasonal depression is a thing. Winter is not the easiest season to be happy in, but it doesn't have to be that way. It seems like it, but it's not. It's a really beautiful season, and it's also because of the darkness. Like, for example, despite being North African, I've always lived in very cold countries. Even the darkness, like cold weather aside, the darkness really does something to our biology, to our brain chemistry. This is going to be my first winter in Stockholm, and I've lived through winters in Canada, which are super freezing cold. Here, it's not as cold as Canada. Stockholm is not as freezing temperature-wise. Like, it's pitch black at 3 p.m. I have to film right now. It's 11 in the morning. The sun is starting to set in 2 hours. The cold weather, the early darkness, these are things that can make it hard to be super chipper like we are in the summer or in the spring when the flowers are blooming. I think that living well seasonally is so important year-round, but if there's a time when you really need to be extra mindful and double down on the being aware of the season itself, I think it's winter. It really is super important to make the most of it and not to succumb to the winter blues. Another reason why I'm making this video, it's because if there's anyone that knows how to winter well, it's this girl. I have done it again and again and again. I'm 100% Moroccan, I'm African, but I have lived most of my life in Italy, and especially in the Alps. So when people think Italy, they think, oh, beautiful weather, sunny, sunshine. No, I was born and raised in the Dolomites, where it's really cold. Not super cold, but it's the most northern part of Italy. Ever since childhood, I've always been very aware of wintertime. And then when I was 17, I moved to Canada with my family, and I've lived there for the past 6 years. Canadian winters, not for the weak. And if you don't do something, it overtakes your life. You can't let winter smell your fear. 5 or 6 years in Canada, and then now I just moved to Sweden. Very cold Nordic country. I've played this game before, again and again and again. I know how to winter well. So let me share what I think about this beautiful season so that we can all winter well. Alright, I have a little map with me. I got this, I'm refining my 2026 analog journaling ecosystem, and I think this is going to be a new addition to the journal stack. This is a Rhodia A5 landscape web notebook. Beautiful ivory paper, just gorgeous quality. I made this little map. Do you see it? It's my handwriting. I might scan it and add it to the info box, or not. Maybe I'll take a picture and put it here. Yeah, if you see me looking down, this is what's going on. I wish I also had a little oat matcha or an oat cappuccino next to me, but you know what? I ran out of milk. No emotional support drink for today, which is, it's okay. It's okay. I don't need emotional support today. All right. How to winter well, a seasonal guide. I've divided this in multiple sections. Honestly, I'm realizing today that this might be a really long video. I don't want to say that I'm going to talk about it superficially, but I will be general and not super detailed. So before the season starts, towards the end of the previous season, usually I sit down and I think about what the season is going to mean for me. That's why I want to say this is not just about winter, but it's about how to live well and make the most of your time. You might live in a country where there's weak winters or short winters or no winters at all. You can apply this mentality, this philosophy to every season, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a season of nature. It can also be a season of life. And I think about what the next chapter is going to be for me, and I usually concord my life chapter with the natural season. I think that it's important to think about your life chapter because that allows you to be aware of not only where to improve, because as a society we've grown to be so productivity and optimization obsessed. Take time to think about what the life chapter is going to be, just to grow a deeper awareness in such a way that will allow you to have better memory. I guess this is really an antidote to disassociation and depersonalization. I don't want to say that I've struggled with personalization or disassociation, but I've definitely had phases or seasons or chapters in my life in which time just passed by. I don't want to say that I wasn't in my body or in my mind. The season itself would pass. I would move on to the next one and think back and not be able to bring up memories. I couldn't really extract something specific like a theme or a feeling out of my heart. Things happen. Don't remember them. There's no thread. There was no deeper connection, no awareness, no mindfulness. Because I know we always make memories, but the thing about memories is not making them, but keeping them. Season to season, life goes on. We do things, but then we forget them. And I find that so sad, to be able to pinpoint things that happened in time, just to have a timeline in my brain of my life and feel connected to my life. So usually I sit down, I sketch what is going on in my life, a brainstorming map of all the areas that are going on that are relevant to you. So this would be your life chapter, and you make your little life chapter map. You brainstorm, you sketch, you write down, well, the next 3 to 4 months, I am doing this thing. I am applying for school, working on this project for work. So that can help you to be aware of what's important, what to focus on. And that's usually where I write down maybe a routine that would help me or a habit list that I would like to work on, and not just for working hard, but really for living well. So that can be related to mind, body, soul, spirit. For example, mind, it would be, I want to read before bed. And body, it could be, I want to take a walk every day or work up a seasonal workout routine. Usually I change my exercise program season to season. Maybe I don't run outdoors in the winter, but I want to in the summer. So I do have to be mindful of things like that. So it could be, if you're religious, you have this holiday coming up, you want to read more about it, prove a religious practice. If you're not religious, it could be something else. Reading about philosophy, could be visiting a mosque or visiting a synagogue. It doesn't have to be something specific, but something that can tap into your soul. Heart could also be a category. These are all varying and flexible and very subjective. Let me plan a trip, a friend trip, or a dinner, or a picnic during this month, or more frequent hangouts. Let me try to do a coffee with a friend every week. So that could tap into your heart, or spend more time with your family, with loved ones. Make a new friend. This season, I think I'm ready. I'm gonna go on a date. Something that really opens up your heart. I would say that another category of your brainstorming sketch could be inspiration and art. Maybe you put on this board a painting that inspires you, that makes you think of the season that you're stepping into, something that really captures its essence. Old painting, it could be a modern painting, it could be anything. I would also suggest to put creators or people, not necessarily by artists, I don't mean painters and writers, creators. Like for example, someone that inspires you, not only art that inspires you, which art, it could really be anything. It could be a car, a well-designed, beautiful car. Art is a really good reminder of direction. Art as in created art, but also people that create art. Maybe it is a writer, maybe it is a painter, but maybe it's also an engineer, a filmmaker, or a journalist, a politician, a scientist. I think that it's really important to have inspiration and creators and art within this seasonal guide. Could also be characters, fictional, historical. Well, I'm just gonna say like a silly one. Maybe your inspiration is Julius Caesar. That's your inspiration. Mr. Miyazaki, very big inspiration of mine. Sofia Coppola is a big inspiration of mine. I'm really into filmmakers and their philosophies. Maybe that's the thread for me for the winter. As you move on from habits, routine, and admin things, you create a memo, a reminder to who inspires you and what they have done, or what art inspires you, so that you feel more motivated. These people are people that have done great things, and they can show you, they can prove that you can do great things. And also, maybe they capture something that is important for you in your life chapter, or they capture a beautiful and poetic essence of the natural season itself. Another change of frame. So that would be your inspiration / art category. Moving on to another category of this seasonal guide to life, and that would be something really important, and that is the side quest. The side quest, I don't want to say it's everything, but it is essential. I want to emphasize this. I wrote about it on my Tumblr blog, and people seemed to really resonate, but also be captivated by the concept of a seasonal side quest. The seasonal side quest can be an activity or a craft or a skill, a new thing that you take on and that will be kind of your work in progress lore. The seasonal side quest is so important for a well-rounded seasonal philosophy. The side quest is how you experience novelty, is how you experience discomfort, maybe also learning, and it can be so many things. But the point of it is to do something new, do it alone. Do not give yourself the pressure of thinking, okay, this is basically gonna be my forever thing. No, you associate it with the season. If it continues to be something important for you, okay. If not, you can drop it. I think it's important to do something by yourself. It's really good exposure if you're shy, but it also gives you opportunity to make new friends, meet new people, also meet people that are good at their craft, meet people that are wise and that can give you a different perspective of life. The seasonal side quest teaches you to be around new people, but it also teaches you to do something by yourself. That can be a discomfort in the beginning. That's okay, and that's a good thing. Discomfort sometimes is a really good thing because it allows us to grow. It's such a great chance for you to grow within your character, but also within your skill set. Let me give a few examples. A side quest could be a club, a community work, a volunteering experience. It could be a craft. It could be really anything, but it should be around new people, be something that you've never done before. The side quest allows you to learn about the world and learn about yourself. It's the world and the self. It's such a wonderful way to connect the two. Almost the fertilizer to grow. Like there's this plant inside you, and this side quest is this fertilizer that really, it's like this fermenting thing that allows you to bloom and grow in a way that maybe you didn't expect. It makes your history more rich. So for reference, in the past, I have done, my history includes chess club. It was last winter. And then last summer, not this summer that just passed, but the one before, it was volunteering for a radio. So I was a radio producer. I think it was last fall I did ballet, hated it. It can also be a fail. The side quest can be a fail, and that's kind of the point. So don't think that it has to be something that you need to succeed in. It can be really anything. So it was ballet for a while. What was last spring? What did I do last spring? What was my side quest? I think it was watercolor. I was really into watercolor. This fall, it was film assisting. Like, I volunteered for the Stockholm International Film Festival, and I learned so much about film and the industry itself, how the people think. I got to talk to directors and artists, and I made friends. Also, sidebar, the side quest is such a good way to make friends and meet people in a new city. In the past, I wanted, when I was in Canada, to do collage club, but I didn't get to it. Language cafes. I think my winter thing is going to be language cafes. Stockholm has a plethora, so many language cafes you can attend, and I think that's going to be my thing. I don't know if it's going to be Russian or Swedish or whatever else. I'm feeling drawn towards it. I'm really feeling it. I'm a beginner in those languages. That's okay. Exposure, people, friends, learning. It's a vibe. It's such a vibe. Seasonal side quest for the win. Also, it could be something related to community, which can be connected to the soul part of the habits and the routine, but even doing something for the community can be so healing. And I find that the world has grown to be, at least in the West, so individualistic that we forget the joys of feeling useful and helpful in a community setting. Volunteering for a food bank, such an enriching experience, or volunteering for a charity group, something for the community. That's such a valuable side quest. And it's like, it sounds a bit superficial or corny to call it a side quest, to do something for the community season to season. If it is like those environmental groups that pick up garbage in the forest, those exist as well. I just want to say there's so many things you could do as a side quest if you feel like you want it to be more community oriented or politically oriented, something with more of a social impact. You can do that, but it can also be an artistic endeavor. It could be a painting group. Oh, I did as a side quest for, I think it was it last summer? I would go to this live in-person sketching group. It was nude sketches. It was so flippin' fun. And it was terrible the first few times. There was this naked lady in the room. Me sketching? Terrible sketching skills. But it was so fun. It was so fun. I used to go every Wednesday for a whole season to this arts and crafts shop. So many art schools do it too regularly for art students, but usually they're open to people that are not enrolled in their courses. These things will come up in the future. And it's such an interesting way to live. Like, cool and interesting people have done cool and interesting things, but it can also be uncool things like chess club. Or actually chess club, I feel like it's cool. Rubik's Cube club. The more unlike you it is, the better. Like, super cool, interesting, niche things. It forces you out of the house when it's cold and dark. It forces you to talk to new people when you're shy. You talk to old people that are so much wiser than you, other young people that maybe are having the same experiences as you. And you're like, oh my God, I am not the only person in the world. We create our bubbles. And it's nice when our seasonal bubbles have these side quests that remind us that learning is a lifelong thing, that you get those happy chemicals in your brain when you talk to people. You could discover your thing, like capitalized your thing, or you hate it, like I hated ballet and it wasn't for me. Now I know. Isn't that wonderful? A seasonal side quest doesn't have to cost you money. Volunteering for a food bank or joining a chess club or things like that, it doesn't have to cost you money. You don't have to enroll in a school or a program or whatever else. It will cost you energy and time. It's not super easy. You might not do something for status, for profit. The returns of your investment are so much greater. You could argue that not anyone can do things like this. It could be once a week. The returns are so good for yourself, for yourself. I kid you not, I've experienced it. That 1 hour bi-weekly of food bank volunteering will give you such gratitude. What's important is that it's something new, something with people, and something that you do semi-regularly. Having a seasonal side quest does require minimal planning. I'm a planner person, so I would schedule everything I have to do, work school, and find a slot where I can fit in something that is related to my side quest. There's a reason why it's so recommended that kids do activities, like after school activities, and I think we kind of forget that we need that as we grow older too, to make friends, to learn. Seasonal side quests. So good. So good. Literally yum, 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 yum. Delicious, delicious, delicious. I remember when I went to my first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class, and I got home with my braid just like super disheveled. I never realized that that could be something that I would enjoy. I could talk about this for a bazillion hours, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. A seasonal side quest. Moving on, another part of the seasonal guide to living well, an everyday carry. This is important because it allows you to not be addicted to your phone. The everyday carry is, you could say, a manifestation of your aesthetics, of your likings, and so on and so forth. But not only, that's not entirely how I think about my everyday carry season to season. It truly is the way that I prevent myself from being glued to my screen. If I come up with a everyday carry that includes a digital audio player, a book, a journal, and I am mindful. I am reminding myself of what's important. I am more likely to leave the house and not be just scrolling to no end. So it really is a preventative method, and also, of course, play. It's like an aesthetic game. It's something, you're curating your aesthetic. It's such a wonderful thing. But generally, the root, like the apple core seed of the everyday carry, is to live analog and to have a more digital, minimalist approach to everyday life. And of course, it changes season to season. In the winter, I always carry my hand cream, my lip balm, because the weather is just so dry. And I carry a small perfume because I'm homesick sometimes, living in a foreign country by myself for the first time. So I carry my mom's perfume, and that makes me feel so much better. It's not necessarily about consumption. It's not about the things itself. It's about what the things do for you and what the things mean. I don't want this to be a seasonal guide to life. Buy this, buy that. No, it's about the meaning of doing things, the meaning of thinking about things, the meaning of carrying things. Everything has a meaning. All these small meanings, the meanings of the habit, the meaning of reminding yourself that you need to focus on school, on your grade, reminding yourself of this creator, this engineer that you look up to, that has a meaning. It motivates you to be great, to be better. The side quest itself has a deep meaning. It reminds you of the value of people, the value of novelty, the value of discomfort, the value of learning. And the everyday carry, I'm telling myself, okay, you leave the house, instead of scrolling your phone, you carry your camera and you remind yourself of what means something to you. The things that you carry are not necessarily you. They don't mean that this is you, this is your aesthetic, you are your aesthetic, but they express in a very subtle way what means something to you. Like, beauty is important to me. I like to carry my lipstick, and maybe for the season I come up with one lipstick combination, a lip pencil and a lipstick that really, like, it's doing it for me. It's such a beautiful winter combination, and I always carry it with me as my lip liner and my lipstick. My book. I love reading. I'm reminding myself reading is important. I carry my journal. It reminds me writing is important for me. In the summer, I carry sunscreen. In the winter, I'm reminding myself your lips will get dry. Carry your lip balm. It could be stupid, silly things, but also important things. So when you think about your everyday carry, that's also a good chance to think about your digital ecosystem and your analog ecosystems. So your journals, but also the tech and the gear that we inevitably need to use in our life. It's good to be mindful of that aspect as well. Another category of the How to Winter Well guide would be, I want to call it library or like bookshelf. This is the part where you sit and you think, and you're like, this winter, I really want to get into pop punk. You can associate a season with a music genre or a specific album. You can make a playlist for the season. I find that it's easy to do memory keeping when music is involved. I associate phases of my life to certain albums or certain artists. The past fall, I was so in love with jazz. Running club email. That's a side quest. I was really into cool jazz. Of course, there's the holidays. We have Christmas coming up. I might choose a nice Christmassy jazz album to listen to. Jazz club, that was a side quest for me. This past fall, I would go to jazz bars and have a flippin' blast. A section of library could be, music. So maybe you get into DVDs or CDs or a genre or an artist. You make a playlist. But also, library can consist of a bookshelf. You create a bookshelf for the season. So it could be music, but also books. It's so wonderful. It deepens the reading experience, the musical experience, everything. Library could also be something related to cinema. You could make a list of movies to watch. Basically, what you are doing for this portion of your brainstorming, your sketch of the season on how to live well and make the most of it, you're creating your set design, your soundtrack, your scenery. That's what you're doing. And it's a way to romanticize life. It's a way to discover new artists. It's a way to experience the joys of really good music, a really good book. I really, really recommend creating and curating your artistic consumption. I have 2 more sections for this guide. The second last one is called lookbook. For the lookbook, you can think about your wardrobe and maybe your vanity, your bathroom cabinet, but also your cupboard, your kitchen, your bedside table. What do I want to really wear? Basically, what you are doing with the lookbook category is creating a signature. You could pick a signature scent, a signature look, lean into one style rather than another. At least for me, it gives me excitement, but it also gives me confidence. It doesn't have to be about necessarily buying something new, but maybe you've had a trench coat sitting in your wardrobe. Being aware of your wardrobe gives you such a strong sense of self. I feel good when I leave the house and I love my outfit. Coming up with a wardrobe for the season is such a fun way to both experiment and also refine your own personal aesthetic. And maybe they're not the things that everybody likes, but that makes it so much more intriguing. It just adds character. It also helps me to not consume as much. I'm not thinking about trends. I'm thinking about what I need for the season. Also, I don't do this every season, every winter or fall season, but sometimes year to year, I think, okay, this season I need a coat. Let me really get a really wonderful coat, and that can be my look for the season. This winter, I got this secondhand London Fog trench coat, and I love it so much. It makes me feel like a cartoon character. I'm giving myself not a uniform, but a palette, like your lookbook section. I don't want to say it makes your life feel like a magazine, but almost. I don't know if my mic was on for the last 5 minutes. So what was I saying? Oh, you can save recipes that are nourishing for the winter. Like, I don't love a soup in the summer when it's really hot, but guess what? I love a soup in the winter. So I save soup recipes. I save latte recipes. My signature scent is lavender heavy. Maybe I will try to make a lavender latte. It could be nice to have a thread between different things. Or what else? Could be a candle. You're basically creating a lookbook like they do for magazines, for fashion collections, for runways, and da-da-da. It's just so nice. It makes winter so much better. I'm not wearing it today, but I got this orange nail polish. It could also be a color palette. A really important color for me, my winter lookbook, it's orange, like a clementine orange, but also a navy blue. So my trench coat is navy blue, and having in my mind a color palette for the season just makes me so happy later on, like I do with music, like I do with scent, like I do with recipes, like I do with outfits. Like, oh, I used to wear this back in the summer of 2022. It helps with memory keeping. It creates the vibrancy that I was talking about before. The last section, the last category of creating your own seasonal guide to life would be one that is called self and philosophy. We talked about habits and routine, art, inspiration, the side quest, the bookshelf, the library, the wardrobe, the catalog. But I wanted the last section to be the self and philosophy category. I want to just come back to full circle because I talked about so many things that are aesthetic related. Well, I wanted to come back to more of an introspective category. Yeah, self and philosophy. It could be self and religion. It could be self and spirituality. As you nourish yourself with good and hearty, warm soup recipes in the winter, it's also important to nourish the self. And I do that through philosophy. You can think about practices you can do or religious practices, whatever works for you. Decide, okay, this season I'm gonna go to therapy, or I'm gonna start affirmations. I'm gonna do a gratitude practice. I'm gonna start praying, do yoga. It's so many different things. It doesn't only have to be reading philosophy. It could be, I'm gonna write down this quote that really nourishes my sense of self. I'm gonna put it on the wall. I'm gonna carry it with me in my wallet. With the winter blues and with everything, with your specific life chapter, it's similar to me carrying my mom's perfume. It's something that grounds you. It's something that makes you more mindful, brings you back to where you are, who you are, what matters for you. A beautiful prayer that you carry with you. A quote from freaking Marcus Aurelius. I find that it's important for me, season to season, not to neglect my sense of self, my philosophical self, in quotation marks, especially in the winter. Introspection can become too much and too negative. I love to feed myself good philosophy, good religious readings, good quotes. So this is how I make the most of the seasons. This is how I live well season to season. This is how it goes for me. In the winter, I make sure that in my wardrobe there are warm tights I can wear. I make sure that my scent is winter appropriate, not maybe super fruity or floral, but more sweet and milky. I love when I read books that are a bit Christmassy or that have winter in them as well. I pick a side quest for the winter so that I don't lock myself in my room. I am mindful of this philosophy year round, but in the winter, I just double down. And yeah, it's not about consumption. It's about contentment, like actual contentment. Well, like I wrote down, it's about time in nature and life, being mindful, not just in accordance to your life chapter or the season, but being mindful of how you pass your time and not live passively. It's about giving your life character, seeing it through your eyes. I want to emphasize that it's not about how I see winter. You give your life character, you give your life direction, you give your life substance and color, and that just helps you not survive the season, survive the winter, but live a good winter, live well. That's my speech. That's my little spiel. I'm looking at the time. It's 12:18. I see my bike outside. I have to go to a birthday lunch, but I also have to stop somewhere and get this girl flowers because she's so sweet. I really need to run, but I'm so glad because I didn't skip through anything. I talked about everything. And yeah, if you want me to make more in-depth explanations of my different categories, my wardrobe, my bookshelf, let me know. And I have to go. I have to go. I have to go right now. I have to go. Please let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts about this topic, any recommendations for side quests for me. That's everything. That's everything for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.